Hey guys, welcome to Still Stoked Chats. Melanie and I are going to talk through a bunch of things that we wish we knew when we started surfing so you can progress a bit quicker and not make the same mistakes that we did.
Yeah, there's been a lot of mistakes, and I wish someone would have explained all of this to me beforehand.
Yeah, for sure. So, one thing that I still get told now from people that coach me is Alexa, put your legs together when you paddle.
All the time. And I've even had coaches paddle up behind me, grab my legs, and put them together. It's embarrassing, but it's necessary because I feel like, I have hips. Most women have, wider hips. And it's actually not natural to keep your legs closed when you're laying prone. So you have to actually activate your adductor muscles and actually do a little squeeze, and your glutes have to grip a little bit. So it takes a little, and once you do it for a while, I feel like you kind of get muscle memory. But at first, it's not natural.
And I've been surfing now 10 years, and I still I'll be like, oh my God, my toes are either side of my board. And now, I'll see other people paddling, turtled out with their legs, and I'll be like, yeah, I got to do that too. So I still do it.
Yeah.
And I know I always watch the boys, and they're like, you know how people cross their legs?
That's hard to do.
I find it quite difficult.
Super hard.
And it's but it does keep you centered on your board, and it does help you to be more streamlined when you paddle. So I guess I was kind of embarrassed when my coach was like, hey, thanks, G. G McCormick from Chick Surf School. She was like, I think you should go to the pools, manly pools, and duct tape your legs together and just paddle up and down the swimming pool. And I was like, really? It's that bad? She's like, uh-huh.
Oh,
but it was good advice.
Yeah. And you know what I found? I can't cross at the ankles very good, but I can cross at the arches of my feet.
Yeah.
So I can a little bit hook at the arches of my feet, and that helps.
Yeah.
Just when I'm paddling. But when I'm paddling for a wave, I notice it's not just about keeping my legs together. It's about zipping up. I imagine that there's a zipper going from my top of my head all the way down to my feet. So every muscle is active, and I just zip everything toward the midline. And that helps. It helps you catch waves, because you're activating muscles rather than just willy-nilly paddling.
Yeah.
For it.
And then paddling, that's a huge one.
Huge.
To paddle efficiently is the only way you're going to get waves.
And we're both still working on it.
Yeah.
We always will be.
I think I'm a weak paddler, and I know it, and I'll never win a paddle battle. Not that I'm battling my friends ever, but I'll never win. I'll never get out back first. Mm-hmm. I'll go in before you, and then you will overtake me. I'm like, why?
I think it's funny that you even notice that, though, because I do too. And then I go, well, wait, it depends on what kind of board you're on, how much volume is in that board.
For sure.
So,
but mostly the boys are on less volume than me.
It's true. It's true. Well, guys just have upper body strength.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I think there's definitely I know that I don't reach as much as I could and pull back as much. Sometimes I'll just kind of stroke, and I see a lot of girls, a lot of people when they learn to surf, they're kind of not up in their chest, open, and really wanting to, and sweeping under the board, reach as far as you can, sweep under, tickle, try and push it all the way back, reach, sweep under, push it all the way back.
And I think the one time I was called out pretty badly was by a friend who shouted at me, "You're paddling like a turtle." And I was kind of upset in the moment, but it was good advice because I was paddling with my arms out, to the sides, rather than reaching straight forward and up and over. So, and I think that kind of comes for me because I started on a longboard, and the board is wider. Yeah. So you're used to kind of coming out to the side. With a more narrow board, you're right, you want to get under the board.
Yeah. That scooping of moving the water underneath you.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah,
cool.
It's not easy.
No.
It's not easy, and I'm still working on it.
And it's a constant reminding yourself. Just today, you reminded me that when you do a pop-up, to exhale, and you can get above your board easier.
It's a great tip.
There's so many techniques that we're still learning.
Yeah. So that one, guys, is when you're paddling, if you're breath out, push, breath out, push, breath out, push. And then when you go to push up, and then you push up, and that exhale breath is this downward force of movement, just like in yoga when you push back into downward dog.
Totally.
It's this downward weight, and it helps just push your board down the wave.
Totally. Well, and that is another thing. I get so focused on getting into the wave that I'm looking forward. And I remember the first time a coach said, look where you want to go.
Yeah.
So, then it's like you're looking, you're getting your wave, and then you start looking over your shoulder in the direction that you want to go. That was huge, to look down the line, because if you look straight, you're going to go straight.
Yeah. It's like in snowboarding, if you look at the tree, you're going to hit the tree. So, like, looking down when you're paddling for a wave is scary. It's about to bottom out on you. But if you just change your perspective and look right, I actually don't know if you can see this, but I drew arrows on my board up here, left and right, to remind me that if I am looking at those arrows, I need to be looking left or right.
Yeah.
So I drew those arrows to remind me to look down the line.
So if you see the arrows, it means lift your eyes.
Yeah, totally. You should not be seeing those arrows.
That's smart.
Like, look up.
Don't look at me.
Don't look at me. But yeah, I did that as a reminder because, and that brings us on to like another point, like not paddling straight down, but paddling at an angle.
Yeah.
So paddling at an angle means that when the momentum will pick you up and push you along the wave,
yeah,
rather than just down into the flats. Because on a wave like this here in the flats, down here is kind of the no-go zone. If you're down there, there's no energy. It's dead. But if you're like just here in that curl, it's going up, and that's where you're gonna get the energy. And for years, I would just like take off and just go into the flats, and then be like, "Damn it, the wave just ran off without me."
Yeah, exactly. I can't get around that. It's hard to gather. I mean, I see really advanced surfers, and sometimes you can grab that speed and make a really like zipping bottom turn. But if the wave's real zippy, like that's what I had to do today. We were surfing at kind of a dumping beach break, and so I had to get my board the last paddle before popping up, have to angle my board down the line.
Yeah.
Otherwise, there's just no wave to save.
Pitches.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And what were you saying about? You were saying something today about like the shape of a wave was.
Yeah. So I remember when I figured this one out. This was like a revolution for me, where I figured out that if the wave looked like a C, and you're trying to catch it, it's too late, because like that lip is just gonna shoot you forward. So it's got to be more open, like maybe just a little bit of feathering whitewash at the top. And if you have a bigger board, it can even be angled back like that, and then you can slope in on the shoulder. Smaller board, you're gonna have to have a little bit, but if it's a full-on C shape, just get prepared to just get pitched.
Yeah,
which is fun too, but not the point.
Yeah, not what you really want to be doing. And then being on the kind of the shoulder is where you get that.
Yeah.
Like a wave, will do that, and then on the shoulder of it is kind of where you can kind of just chip in.
Yep.
And then take the momentum down the line of it.
Exactly.
So it's like choosing the right waves and looking at where the shoulder of the waves are, and if it's breaking out the back, like it's already broken, it's already gone, you know?
Looking out the back too. Like that's what someone told me. Like I remember learning it in Spanish, and she said you need to look desde lejos, like until far. And she's like, always be looking until far. So that like cool. Stays in my head a lot. Is like I'm always looking out the back, and also the shape of the wave too. I'm looking down the wave, like is that thing gonna hold up, or is that just gonna dump on me? So looking far.
I think as you get more advanced with surfing, like our coach Twiggy said this to me recently, Alexa, like if you're not going to take that wave, look and always see what that wave did.
Yeah.
Don't just be like, I didn't take it, like look out the back and look at the next one. Like look, say you're not going to take it, but watch and see what it did.
Yeah.
Because then you're going to learn that if it's a closeout or actually it was a good one.
Yeah.
But like pay attention to what the wave is doing. I think that's like more of an advanced thing once you're looking for like what waves are makeable and what aren't.
But that's how you learn which waves are makeable.
Yeah.
And I think I had a coach tell me too that like don't just sit on your board, like be active in the water. And if you see that the wave broke over there and it was like good, surfers got it over there, then like start making your way in that direction. Because if you just sit around and wait for a wave to come to you, you might be out of position.
Yeah, for sure. I'm definitely guilty of like being lazy and being like, oh, I'll just stay here and just wait for one to come. Now I'll get like 2 waves in a session or something, and like my friends would get like 20.
Yeah.
I'll be like, well, that's because you were being lazy and you were like
chilling,
not looking at what was going on in the ocean and chasing them down.
Which has its own value. Sometimes you just want to chill. Like sometimes I think I get too excited in the water. It's like all about like slaying waves. Like sometimes you just want to get out there and hang out. But yeah, if you're trying to get waves, it's It's not a good strategy.
Yeah, you gotta move. You gotta go where the waves are.
Yeah, exactly.
I think like as a girl as well, when you're starting to surf, don't be worried about what other people think of your
That's the
surfing.
worst.
Or like, oh like should I be here? Or like oh I cooked it, they saw, like I feel terrible, I'm gonna go in. Like people, this is what I've learned. People do not care about how you are surfing. I am focused on like what how I'm surfing, and people are out there to get their own waves.
Yeah.
So as long as you're being safe and friendly, like people aren't really watching you surf and critiquing you in
Yeah.
your head, in their head. They're just trying to get their own waves and they're concentrated on their own deal.
Totally. I can't tell you the number of times I've like gotten a good wave and looked back to see if my friends saw, and like nobody was watching. So like why would I be in my head about when I mess up because nobody's watching? And
Yeah.
if they are, they don't care. They're thinking about their waves.
They're waiting for that next set. Like, is it coming or not?
Yeah, I think it's super intimidating when you're starting because you don't want to get in people's way and you don't want to mess up and you don't want to look silly. But like, you're gonna look silly, but nobody notices.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah,
And like we all had to start somewhere.
yeah,
All had to start somewhere.
exactly.
I took a beginner out the other day, and he was like mortified at all the people, and couldn't hold on to his board. And I was like, everyone. I started somewhere. Everyone started
Yeah.
somewhere, And so I think when you see people in the lineup as well that are looking uncomfortable, and you can give them a tip. Like I'm always like one to be like, hey, come a little further on your
Yeah.
board a little bit, or
Yeah, I love it when someone like we call them uncles in Hawaii. When one of the uncles, like an older guy, like is like, oh, think about this. It's just super helpful. And I know when I was first starting, I was resistant. Like my ego was resistant to that kind of advice. I would be like, don't tell me how to surf. I'm figuring it out on my own. But
I can do this.
yeah, but like the amount of times that I've gotten tips that really actually are so helpful, like game changers.
Yeah,
Like what you told me today, like exhale.
that breath.
Yeah. Big difference, like immediate difference in my surfing. So I think being open to advice or just even asking, like, hey, did you see what I did wrong on that wave?
Yeah.
People they want to help. They want to see you have a good time.
Inherently want to help people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally. And I think like another thing that oftentimes is a problem is people want to see you surf, so they're like, oh, here, borrow my board or take this board, and it's a lot of times not a great board for a beginner to be on. So I see people who are trying to learn, and they're making a really common error because they see people on small boards, so they go, oh, that's a surfboard, that's the board that I want to ride.
Yeah.
And it's like, you can ride the right board in the right conditions and feel like a rock star, and if you ride the wrong board, you're like, oh, I suck at life.
Yeah, I couldn't even get out the back the other
Yeah.
day because I was on like a big 20, and it was like a low tide dumping 6-foot day, and I was like, oh, I can't even get out there. Like on this.
Completely.
So I just sat on the beach in the rain and sucked it up and felt awful and waited for an hour and a half for the boys to come in, but I was on the wrong board.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I exactly know what you're saying. Like I would say get a foamy when you're learning.
Completely.
Like not even just get a mini mal, just get a foamy, and it doesn't have to be like a short one like this, but like a long one that's fun. And if it hits someone, it's fine because it's like made of foam,
Yeah.
Well, it's not fine, but like try not to hit people. But like it's not
Got softer
it's
fins
soft and they're fun. Like you were on the foamy today.
Oh, I had a great time on the foamy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was rad, and there's so much volume that like you can get into waves a little easier.
Earlier.
And that's really important when you're learning, because how are you going to learn if you're not catching waves? But if everyone else, because lineups are often crowded and competitive, and like if you're not taking off at the most challenging part of the wave, someone else is. So if you can get in earlier, more volume on the board means you can paddle faster, you have more power, you're making up for technique that you haven't learned yet, then
it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, exactly.
So we'll put a link in the notes below. So our coach wrote a really good article on how to choose the right board, and like volume, definitely volume in the right places.
Yeah.
He talks about, and he talks very much about just not going into the surfboard shop and beware of the surfboard shop frother. It's like, oh, this new JS is coming. Look, it's got like pinched in rails, and you're like, I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
I don't know. It feels really light and skinny.
Like my first surfboard, I bought it secondhand and I went to go buy it. I had no idea like what I was doing. I just moved from Michigan to California. And the guy's like, oh yeah, it's got some dings in it, but don't worry, I'll just put some tape over it. Like, I shouldn't have paid money for a board that, you know, was gonna let water in.
Yeah.
But I didn't know, so I was like, okay, well, this board's cheap. I guess I'll just take this thing out, and I ruined it right away
How
because
big
it
was it?
delammed. It was the right size board. Luckily, I had asked a friend, like, hey, it's gonna be my first board. It was I think it was 8'4", my
Yeah,
first
right.
surfboard. It was just a round egg-shaped thing, real flat, no rocker.
Nice. Perfect.
Yeah, it was rad.
I think I made a mistake. I bought a mini mount because I was like, I can't fit this thing onto my arm. Like, no, I've got to get one. I was so motivated to get on a shortboard, but I then, after I got on the shortboard, I struggled for years, and then I got made. Well, my coach put me on a bigger board. He's like, we got to slow the wave down for you. We got to slow. You got to get rid of these habits.
Yeah.
You're not ready for this board particularly. I hadn't surfed for the last year and a half because I went and bought a bigger board with 2 more liters in it and 2 more inches.
Yeah.
And yeah, and I've sorted some habits out, and now I'm back on this, and I'm loving it. But
And I think it depends too. Like here in Oz, like there's a little bit more power behind the waves. I learned in California at like a real like gutless beach break. So it was like everyone longboarded there. So it was better to have like a longer, fuller board. And here I feel like at the beaches it's a little bit better to have a bigger shortboard,
yeah,
like a mid length.
yeah,
So you know,
definitely.
you just have to ask around. Like especially I think asking the older generation, and like especially if you see like older women out there, they're just so helpful. Like they want to tell you everything. I think that's a great way to figure out what's a good board to be on and where's the best spot to paddle out. And you know, asking those questions. I didn't want to look stupid.
Yeah.
So I was just, oh, I guess I'll just figure this out. But like, you don't know what to ask, just say like, hey, it's my first time here. Like, what do I need to know?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I think that's a good one, like especially like new spots.
Yeah.
Like where to paddle out. Are there any like submerged rocks that I
Yeah.
need to know? Like this spot doesn't work on low tide because of X, Y, or Z, or
Yeah, I remember Googling, is it better to surf at high tide or low tide? And the first result that came up said, obviously you don't know anything about surfing.
Clever.
Yeah, because it depends, right?
Yeah.
Totally depends on whether it's a reef or a beach or a point or you know, that particular location. And sometimes it's mid tide, and you know, there's
so much
so
going
many
on.
variables.
Yeah. But yeah, I think, you know, in summary, like paddling efficiently, looking down the line, that breath, like that exhalation when you're pushing out, keeping your feet together. God,
I know.
I wish I wasn't still working on that one. It's kind of embarrassing. I'm like, oh no, I paddle, I can surf well, but I can't keep my legs together.
Legs together.
Alexa, shut your legs. So embarrassing. But I get it. I still get it all the time. People tell me that. Yeah, get on the right board and ask questions.
Yeah. But don't be afraid what anybody thinks.
Yeah.
Just go have fun.
Just go have fun. Surfing's so much fun. And yeah.
And the minute it's not fun, go take a break, catch your breath, and go back out with people who make it fun, or like change your attitude, because it's supposed to be fun. And if it's not, why are you doing it?
For sure.
Yeah.
I would actually always add, like, I was so lucky I had a girlfriend who was the same level as me. And we were like, it's storming and onshore, but it's fine. And we'd go out and like just get absolutely dumped and have the best time. But having a girlfriend as a girl to go on that path of like progression and discovery surfing with, like having another girl by your side to do that with was huge. So get a crew on the same level and like keep each other accountable. Like you said we meet at 6 a.m. It's 6:05, you know, like come on, you're 5 minutes late. Like be accountable and like go regularly. You're never going to get good at surfing if you can't do it regularly. Sadly, it's something that you need to be consistently doing.
I was told 3 months every day. That's how you progress past just getting the snot beat out of you.
Yeah.
The first 3 months you go out every day, you're just building strength. That's it. You're not even really riding waves. And then you can start kind of going down the line. But like, yeah, you have to be consistent with it.
I would say 60% of 70% of surfing is like being able to read the ocean and being in the right place, because you're not going to catch any waves if you're not in the right place, and you're only going to know that by looking at the ocean and being in the ocean and like figuring out which waves are going to pitch, which waves are the C's, which ones are the ones with a nice shoulder.
And watch other people. Watch the people who are getting the most waves out there.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, I mean, you don't have to be the person that follows them around to the peak. Like, get in line and wait your turn. But, like, if that's where that guy is getting a wave every 5 minutes, like, maybe that's where you want to be.
Yeah. Yeah. So good.
Yeah.
Nice one. So yeah, those are the things that we wish we learned when we first started out surfing, and hopefully if you action some of them, you will not be paddling 10 years later with your legs apart.
Yeah, and let us know.
Yeah, let us know in the comments below on like if that helped, or if there's anything that you wish you knew that we should definitely still communicate.
Yeah, because probably there's some things that we need to learn from you too, so put it in the comments.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you like these videos, if you could give us a subscribe and a like and leave us a comment and say hi, that would be awesome. It really helps us out.
And don't forget to head on over to stillstoked.com and check out all the great content there.
Sweet. See you later.